Hello everybody, my name is Tanner Kyler, and today I am bringing you a new plant of the day. This one is known as the Jerusalem Artichoke, or the sunchoke, also known by its Latin name as Helianthus tuberosa. So this guy gets its name because of its tuberous roots. I'll try to put a picture on the screen, but if you've ever seen the roots before, they look similar to ginger or potatoes or something along those lines. This plant's root systems are very edible, and I'm going to tell you a quick story about these plants and their importance and how this plant can actually save your life. So during the Civil War in the South, many of the farms, as they would grow their corn for the season, were scoured by the Southern troops. As they'd move along, they'd steal all of their crops for the year to feed the soldiers, leaving the people that lived on those farms behind with nothing for the winter to survive on. So these plants were actually planted all over the edge of their property. They are a native plant to the deep south. They are native to Oklahoma and actually native to the majority of the United States and even parts of Canada. So they are very cold hardy. They spread rapidly through rhizomes and seed, but particularly the rhizomes. They're very easy to dig up, transplant, and put into other areas. They prosper in really wet meadows. So this area is pretty wet because I water this magnolia tree right here, so it gets quite a bit. This one is only 1 year old. I planted this year, and is already taller than me. It's in full bloom as well. So, on top of being able to feed you, they also give you this beautiful shower of flowers during September into October all the way till Halloween. But continuing my story, the people in the South who were scoured for their food would plant these all over the edge of the property and dig them up for food. This is the second highest yielding crop per acre next to corn. So as they grow these in the edge of their property, as the troops would come in, they wouldn't see this as food. So when they take all of their food, they would have these as a secondary option of food for the winter. They're full of nutrients, very similar to potatoes, and with a few other supplements, you can live almost entirely throughout the winter on this crop. This crop here, and I'm saying crop, not wildflower, because it can be used as both. And like I said, it thrives in our prairie ecosystems. They would dig it up as they needed it. So the thing about these tubers is they don't last an incredibly long time once they're dug up. So whenever they were hungry, they would go dig a plant up, get a good amount of food off of the root systems here, and then they would cook that and sustain themselves through the winter. So that's why I say this plant can keep you alive throughout the winter and can actually save your life in harsh times. So if you live in an area with a lot of poverty, this is a great plant to plant for even homeless people or anybody who needs the food throughout the winter. Or it's also something you can grow in the back of your yard or in your garden as a great food source throughout the winter. It's also great for planting in your garden because as it grows up, it helps shade some of the other plants around the base of it, keeping them from getting baked by the summer heat. And then as it gets too big, you can actually chop it down, lay it down in your garden, and it acts as excellent mulch as it brings a lot of nutrients from deep down in the soil up into the leaves. So this plant, like I've said multiple times, extremely hardy, one of my favorite sunflower species, native through a lot of the United States, an excellent plant to plant as a crop or as some design. I'll pull it down so you can see its flowers. It's not as showy as some of our other flowers, but still pretty nonetheless. It helps a lot of pollinators. As you go along and look through the leaves here, I'll pull this one off. You can see there's holes all in it. So there are critters going along and eating these. So they help our native pollinators. They help caterpillars and butterflies and moths while not really getting damaged too much because as these small holes, they just heal over. This thing grows so fast you barely even notice the damage done by the native insects. The damage is also helping our native insect populations by allowing pollinators to come off this plant, to pollinate this plant specifically, and to move along pollinating our other native plants. So once again, I highly recommend planting this guy, especially if you have a large, extensive piece of property and you don't do much with it. You could plant thickets of this, and it could actually be a ton of food for a lot of different sources. Considering it's called the Jerusalem Artichoke, it actually doesn't taste much like artichokes. It's actually not from Jerusalem, and it's not an artichoke. So it's actually a sunflower. It was named, doesn't have the greatest name. That's why I normally call it the sunchoke, or it's by its Latin name, Helianthus tuberosa. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit something. Please comment if you have any questions down below. like and subscribe if you want to see more Plant of the Day videos and other videos like this, other content, and have a great day. We'll see you next time.